So hi guys, we are having Jay Oram. He's a email marketing and development expert. He's known for the work in email in technology and interactive email design. And he has done a lot of trainings and conducted a lot of workshop and been attended a lot of podcasts. So hi Jay, welcome to our show. So it would be a great thing because people would be learning a lot of things about the email marketing from you, Jay.
Hi, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, what led you that I should be start the email marketing?
So if you're first getting into email marketing, the thing I would recommend is just thinking about why you're sending the emails and who you're sending the emails to. That's the most important part. So if forget about all the design and the code and all that stuff. The most important thing when you first start to think about an email is who am I sending it to and why am I sending it to them? And then everything should build from there. So if you've got a good idea of who your audience are and the topics they're interested in, then you can work straight away into exactly the right thing to do for your emails. So email marketing would be using email, the tool of email, so the same thing we use to kind of send personal emails to and from people, to reach out and share marketing information to your recipients. So for example, if you were a shop and you were about to have a sale, then you could create an email to send to everyone who's ever bought something from your shop and say, we're going to have a sale soon. This is the discount. Here's some products. And then they would go on and buy them. Or if you don't have a shop and you're just raising awareness, or you've got a local newsletter or something like that, then it could just be information about the subject that they really enjoy. So if we have like at the town I live in Bishop Stortford, there's a local newsletter that gets sent out with all the events that are coming up, or the shops that are opening brand new, or traffic updates and things like that. So email marketing could be any way you use email to inform people about anything that you want to, really.
A lot of things, but why Jay just choose the email marketing interactive? Sometimes it is advanced. Why?
So like I said then, so email is like, it could be really broad, right? It can be a local newsletter that you send, but it could be from a shop. So I work in the more advanced coding and interactive side of things. So if someone was, we work with BBC, for example, in the UK, who are entertainment, so send out TV shows and things like that. So to promote new TV shows or new programs that are coming out, they want to build up some excitement. And just a plain text email that says, hi, this program's coming out soon, that probably wouldn't make people as excited as if there was some animation in there, or if it's a returning show, there might be some element in there that you can include and theme, etc. So yeah, I specialize in coding emails and working with teams to figure out a really nice way to showcase what they want in their email, in their inbox. So it could be, we did BBC Walking with Dinosaurs, and when we sent the email, there was an interactive quiz around dinosaurs to get people interested, and it introduced the dinosaurs that were going to be covered in the show. Or we've worked with shops where we've used an interactive email to help build a list of people who would like product updates or are interested in products coming out, and you can just sign up straight from the email. So there's lots of different things that we do with interactive and advanced email that, yeah, we kind of help bigger businesses figure out how they can target their customers best.
So you were just talking about it, you did about the dinosaur. How that? So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of fuzz goes on. So how that came into mind that I just figured out this function, how to frame that strategy, because you told that was a dinosaur. It made me creative. How you bring that creative side into your work?
So we're lucky because the clients we work with have really cool things to talk about. So that, for example, walking with dinosaurs is quite an interesting topic. So as an agency at Action Rocket, what we do is we all sit down as a team, and someone who is more of a strategist, someone who comes up with the strategy behind emails, they might sit down and think about what would interest people the most, what would be the most exciting. There'll be a designer who puts together how it would look, the best images that we can pull in from wherever we're going from. And then as one of the development team, the idea is that we say what is possible in email. So having an interactive quiz is quite a difficult thing to do within an email. So we can make that work. So we brought that up. And yeah, the pictures they had of the email of the dinosaurs was really nice. Obviously, from a BBC program, it was really like great artwork, great creatives working on that. So we had all the tools to kind of bring everything together. And yeah, we just sit down and talk for a couple of hours, really, think about ideas, talk about different ways we could do things. And then from that, we go forward with one or two concept ideas, go back to their client and say, which one do you like best, or which is the direction you would like to go in. And then we work with them to refine the idea until we figure out exactly what we want to send.
Okay, so you know that you were working with BBC. So how did you get them as a client? How did you pitch them that? So
Yeah,
it was
I mean, Action Rocket's been so we've been with BBC for 10 years, so we work with them on all of their releases. So I actually wasn't part of the company when we first worked with BBC, but newer clients that have we've kind of gained are either through seeing the work we've already done. So the BBC email is probably a good example of it got shared a lot on social media. It got shared a lot between other people that make email. So then they obviously answer the question, who made this? How can we work with them? So we just get referred by anyone who sees it. Then the other way is we talk at a lot of conferences, like you mentioned. So I go to a conference, I share the techniques that we use to do things, and then that might be recorded and shared, or maybe there's someone in the audience that's looking for that kind of work. So they come to us for that to begin with. Yeah, so really just word of mouth between other companies that have used us before, or if they've seen our work kind of speaks for itself. So the marketing kind of works that way.
what is your biggest moment learning in these things in the beginning, in the initial, in the in the and upcoming stage because you are having a lot of experience.
Yeah, so when I started, we kind of weren't doing the interact. We were doing a little bit of interactive email, but not a lot. So when I first learned the techniques that could be used, that was kind of the big stepping off point where once you realize what can be done, you can kind of figure it out. So I think getting started at the basics, learning how everything works, and then building on it from there. When we first did our first interactive email and it went really well, then we knew that that was a good thing to focus on. So went from there.
Okay. Coming out, uh, which trends people understands wrong, like AMP or dark model?
Okay, so dark mode is a little bit misunderstood from a design point of view and what is possible. So when dark mode came out, probably about 3 years ago, a lot of email clients like Gmail and Outlook, they had to implement dark mode in some way, but they didn't really know how. So they did it as best they could. Um, and what they were trying to do was make a really light email look dark. So that's a really difficult thing to do when there's so many different ways you could code an email. There's so many different ways someone could design an email. So they did the best they could, but that meant that it meant that it didn't really work across everything. It just kind of worked for everybody. So from our point of view as someone sending email, we just have to realize that we can't control what's going on. We just have to work with whatever the email client's doing. So if Gmail wants to turn your colors from kind of a yellow to a muddy brown color or something like that that wasn't part of your brand, then we can't do anything to stop that. So the best thing you can do is swap from yellow to a different color. So you need to work with the email clients rather than trying to reset them. And I think that's the biggest thing with dark mode is, number one, if your recipient, the person you're sending the email to, has chosen that they want their email in dark mode, then you should respect that and make sure your email does go into darker colors, because you want them to read your emails. That's the whole point. So if you don't do that and it's really bright and they don't like it, they're probably going to delete it or report it as spam or unsubscribe or something. So the best thing with dark mode is to listen to what your subscribers want. And then secondly, we can't control it everywhere. So you just have to work with those email clients. And then in terms of AMP email, so AMP is a special kind of interactive email that only works in certain email clients, such as Gmail, Yahoo, and a couple of other smaller ones. And the hardest part with that one is you have to code again the email in another specific way, and you have to do lots of setting up and things like that, which is a lot simpler now than it was when it first came out, but there is an extra step to kind of get it done. But once everything's set up, actually creating an AMP email is not as hard as people think. You can send AMP emails. If you're used to sending interactive emails, you can probably send an AMP email without too much extra work. So that's a misconception with AMP, is that it will take really long, it's really difficult to set up, people don't know what to do with it. But if you're kind of already sending interactive email, then a step to do AMP is not too big a step.
Next question is that you talked about that email should be creative because you mentioned the dinosaur example, but it should be getting a good click. So how it can get a good click and recognized by a person?
Yeah. So that is a really, really important point, and a big point that people do misunderstand as well. That we we spend a lot of time making emails look good and be interactive and engaging, but the ultimate goal is to get people to click, right? That's the only reason you're sending the email, is to get people to click through to go and do something, whether that's watch a TV program or buy something or something like that. So all of the design choices should all be aiming to get someone to either scroll down to a button that says shop now or something like that, or to take an action like go and subscribe or watch a TV program. So even though it looks like we're just designing something that looks pretty, the designers are doing it in a way to make sure that people do click through. So every time we create an interactive email, in the back of our heads, we're thinking, should this be interactive, or would it be better if it wasn't interactive and actually we just showed them a button to click straight through to a web page and then go to a web page? So every design choice and every choice to make something interactive or add more clicks before someone leaves the email to go somewhere is thought about a lot to make sure that we are achieving the ultimate goal that the client wants, whether that is, yeah, buy something, or sometimes it isn't about getting clicks. Sometimes, like, the results are that more people talk about your brand, or you want them to go watch a video, or you just want them to know what's coming up. So clicks might not be the ultimate objective, in which case emails can be designed differently. But yeah, the whole idea that what we're doing is using email to get people to take whatever action is needed for your business. So every design choice should go towards that.
Okay, so next question is that whenever the people or the teams are creating the email campaign, what common mistake they do and how to correct them?
The first thing is they put too much stuff in email. So whenever you're getting an email from a brand, you'll almost certainly, it'll be really long, there'll be loads of content, and when that's going on, you're kind of distracting people from what is going on. So if you want to send an email and get people to click, then just focus on one specific subject, one specific thing that you want them to do. Shops are the biggest kind of the people that make the most mistakes, where they send an email maybe once a week or twice a week, and instead of focusing that email on one product, giving it lots of information, really telling the story behind the product and getting people to buy the product, what they do is they create one big picture at the top of the product with a little bit of information and then a buy now button, and then the rest of the email is full of more products and more information about sales or blog posts or anything that they want. But the whole reason for sending that email was to get everyone to buy that first product. So why not focus the whole email on that, tell the story really well, give all the information, and just get people to click through and buy that one product? You're probably going to get more sales focusing on one thing and having a shorter email than you are having a really long email with lots of different subjects. But as with email across everything, it always depends. So for shops, it probably makes sense to keep subjects to like one product. But if you are a news site and you're sending out links to news articles, maybe you found out that people do like to have emails that have 10 different links in it with 10 different things going on. And that could be completely true, but it should always be tested. But the most common pitfall we find is that people are trying to put too much information in an email and far too many subjects in one email, and you should really just focus on the one thing that you want people to do.
Yeah. normal email?
I wouldn't. It's not necessarily better, but it might be suited to a specific subject. So, for example, I mean, you should always test these things in email because you never know. But for interactive email, we find that it's good if you are trying to surprise someone, or we call it surprise and delight someone. So normally when you open your emails, they're pretty bland, right? You get the same stuff over and over again. And if you get in a lot of emails, you're probably just going to flick past them because you're not like, if something comes up, same old big massive picture and then some text, you kind of just flick through it and it all looks the same. So if you want to shout about something or tell a story about something specific, then an interactive email could be a good option for you. Um, and then also, if there's a specific thing that's going to keep people more engaged than within the email. So if you are telling a story or bringing a lot of information into an email, then instead of having one big long paragraph with loads and loads of text in it, could you break that up into a carousel of things that move through? Could you get people to click on something to reveal something else? It's all about keeping someone engaged. There's been loads of studies and loads of people quote loads of different numbers, but a lot of people say that you have a very short period of time from when someone opens the email to getting them to actually engage with your email. So some people say 8 seconds, some people say 15 seconds. So you don't have a lot of time for someone to open your email and then really get interested in what's in there. And interactive email is just that extra help to kind of get people to engage with what's going on. And interactive email is like, I always say that it's like the icing on the cake. So if your cake tastes bad and it's got bad ingredients, then putting icing on it is not going to help. Whereas, and the ingredients I'm talking about are things like, are the emails personalized? Have you sent emails to the right people? Is the offer and the content that you're sending out, is it what people are interested in? If you are sending out information about something that your audience is not interested in, even if you make it interactive, people are not going to want to click on it. So why bother? So yeah, you have to think about all those things as well. So interactive elements within an email or making a whole interactive email can really add to what's going on.
Which tool do you use for email marketing?
Okay. So we, as an agency, we work with so many different tools. So any client that comes to us, we work with all of their tools. We tend to work with the larger kind of email sending tools such as Salesforce Marketing Cloud or Braze or something like that. But we've worked with, I think when we last counted, it was like 37 or 38 different ways to send email. So we just work best with the tools that you've got. And to be honest, every single email tool can send personalized, segmented emails. So you can send to a certain portion of your list, or you can make sure that the right information is going to the right person. And then most email tools will allow you to upload your own code. So if, for instance, we're really interested in sending interactive email, the majority of email clients will let us upload interactive email code that can be sent, and it works. So it works kind of everywhere. I wouldn't. There's so many different factors in choosing an email tool that it's very difficult to kind of broadly say that this is the best one. But yeah, if you're thinking of starting a newsletter and you want to send it to a few people before you grow, then there's some kind of dedicated writing email tools such as Substack or Beehive that might be kind of cool to get involved with. If you're more of a developer and you're looking at kind of putting together emails and you still want to keep it quite small, then ConvertKit, or Kit as it's now called, is another really good tool for kind of getting set up. And then once you start growing, there's hundreds of email tools out there now that you could use. So yeah, start off small, have a look around, talk to someone who's used a few and get their viewpoints on how they use it. And yeah, if you're looking at an email tool, I would say talk to the salesmen that are trying to sell it to you, and then ask to talk to someone who's actually using it and ask them all the questions that you've got so you can get a bit of experience, whether it's good or bad.
Next question is that, see, there's a lot of beginner who wants to have a hand-on training on email marketing. So what tools they should use it as a beginners? Because there are certain tools which are very easy. There's certain tool which is very advanced. So which tool they should go first?
So if you're learning email marketing and you're just getting started, then yeah, I would say go with that kind of MailChimp, Kit, Beehive, Substack. Those are the kind of ones I'd start with for email marketing. And yeah, if you've got a shop or something like that and you're using Shopify or Magento or whatever it is, then they've probably got a recommended email tool, and start small with that. Practice what's going on, try some emails, see what's working, and then build from there. Yeah, and I always say that it's probably a good idea to get a consultant or someone who's experienced in email. Even if you only talk to them for like an hour, then you'll get loads out of that hour, and then you can go from there.
Yeah, so LinkedIn is the best platform that you can get a lot of your mentors, consultant, there are a lot of people who can guide you on the email marketing.
Yeah, and there's a Slack group called Email Geeks, which is Email Geeks Slack. So that has a lot of people that are interested in email marketing. Recently, on Reddit, there's a group on there that's called Email Marketing. That's really good. Lots of people talk on there and give lots of really helpful information. So, yeah, as well as LinkedIn, there's a couple of others. But yeah, you can find lots of information online to get started.
Okay. Now, coming to this, that there are a lot of people who don't have technical knowledge. So, how they can handle those technical email problems, email difficulties, and all?
There's lots of tools out there that will help you now. So there's a tool called Stripo, which is an email builder that will allow you to build interactive emails and have elements of AMP, as well as create a whole email design system. There is other tools like Mailmodo, Design Modo. There's probably loads more. There's lots of tools out there now that will allow you to create interactive emails, but also just generally good looking HTML coded emails that you can use in lots of different email clients. So I'd just have a search for kind of email builder and find one that works. And there's a whole range out there now. If you're specifically looking for interactive, then yeah, I'd look at like Stripo or Malmodo to start off with.
So basically, we are gonna know from your knowledge and from your experience that how can basically your designers, marketers, and developers work together in building a better email, which can get a good engagement and a good click.
Yeah, how do they work good together? Um, Yeah, I mean a lot of it is from experience. So the good thing about working at an agency like Action Rocket is that yeah, we've been around for like 15 years, and a lot of people within the agency have a lot of experience with email. So you're kind of not starting from scratch. So you can get the information like the strategy behind it, why you would send an email. The team there know a lot about email and marketing, and then same with the designers and developers. They kind of know what's going on. So yeah, I surround yourself with people that know what they're talking about, or people that are smarter than you. That's what I always like to do. And then they'll teach you something, and then you can keep learning.
Okay, so you can just give me a small example if you love to share.
I have like a really good email that's gone out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we work with a big tax company in America, and you would think that tax is quite a boring subject, so it's not that engaging on email basically. But the email we worked on for them was a weekly updater. So you opened your email every week, and it gave you an update on how your personal tax was working out. And we used a nice engaging design. We used dynamic content to keep you updated on the latest forms you needed to fill in, the latest information you needed to update, any news from like the government or anything like that on taxes. And that email did really well because every person that got that email, there was something in there that they wanted to click on and then take further action. So it was kind of personalized to the millions of recipients that got it, and the designers and the developers that worked on it made sure that everything fit together really well. And even though someone could, like, everyone could get an email and they could all look completely different, it still looked like a really nice cohesive email that worked really well. So yeah, it was just a really good design.
Budget.
I would find ways to try and make things as efficient as possible, and stop trying to do the something new every single time you send an email. So if you don't have a template set up that has your branding in it and things that you use all the time, so your links, your buttons, different modules and things that you use, I would say put aside some time to set up some templates, maybe a design system that you can use, and that way you're not starting from scratch. And then plan out the email content ahead of time rather than wait until you need to send an email and then think about it. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, get a design system or template set up, make things more efficient, give yourself more time to work on why you're sending an email and the content of an email. And then once you build up that, then you can look at, maybe you've figured out that one-off email that's interactive might be really cool. You've already given yourself some time to kind of figure that out.
Out of it. And why did it work it out for you, basically?
Mm-hmm. Probably a really old email. So the one I'm really proud of is like I said, we've worked for BBC for a long time, and the very first interactive, proper big interactive email that we sent was for a series called Dynasties, which had lots, like I think it was like 6 different animals in it that were there, and that email used some techniques in the background that were new to me when I was learning it, and it was the first email I put together that had the way things popped up, the way things get clicked on, how you interact with an email, and really thought about how that experience would be for the user. And from that email, more people have got in contact with me to say that that email inspired them to try interactive email, or they didn't know that that was possible, and loads of good things like that. So the email itself performed really well and got lots of people to watch the program and made loads of people really interested. But another byproduct of that was it was the first real interactive email for a proper client that was out there in the wild that people were seeing and interacting with, and it got more people interested in an interactive email. And yeah, that meant more people wanted to talk to us and myself. So that was all really good.
So now coming to the future of the email marketing, there's a lot of AI tools, a lot of AI stuff is coming it out. So how do you think that email marketing is gonna change in upcoming 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years?
So, in terms of people sending emails for email marketing, AI is going to help them get more efficient. So, how I mentioned before that if you're a small team, you should try and build a template. AI is going to help you do lots more. So, it's going to help you segment, it's going to help you personalize, it's going to help you figure out your data that you're working on, and it's going to allow you to move quicker. And then also, AI within email tools are going to allow you to get emails to reply to you, or they're going to take lots of information that they're getting from recipients and help you send better emails to them by sending them content that they would relate to or content that works for them. So I think that's what's going to happen from people sending emails. In terms of email coders and developers, I think AI is going to help them write more code and figure out problems quicker and stop the repetitive tasks. It's not going to help with knowing what can and can't be done and how quick email changes, but it possibly will help figure out code and work out code quicker. From people receiving email, I think that's going to change a lot. So we've already seen that Gemini in Gmail has been integrated and is summarizing emails, summarizing your inbox, and you might not actually physically open every single email anymore. You might just get a summary of what's interesting, and if you think that it is interesting, then you might click on it and open it. But in general, you might just get a summary of your emails in the morning and might not see subject lines, you might not see the content of an email, but it might tell you that, you've been looking for your favorite hoodie that's been online and it's a sale. And you just click on the link in the summary and you go straight through to the shop. You don't ever look at that email, but when you sent that email, all of that information was there. So as a consumer or someone that's looking at email, I think things are going to change how you interact with email and what you see in your inbox. But from an email marketing point of view, all of those normal things are still going to be really important. Segmenting, personalizing, sending engaging content to the right people at the right time. And that's really important.
Impact in email marketing.
Um, there's a couple of things that have impacted. So one is it's made starting off things easier. So you can ask AI to create an image, create the bare bones of an email or the bare bones of a website really quickly so that you can get started really quickly and you're not starting from a blank page. And then within the tools, like I said, it's made segmentation, personalization a lot easier. But then also, it's kind of made it a little bit harder in some respects as well. If people can send more email more quickly using AI, more email is going to hit your inbox, and that means it's going to be more crowded and it's going to be harder to get your message to go through. So, and I've also seen a lot of people use AI to create more spam or junk email that gets sent out because they can send more email with more volume much quicker. So AI is not helping in that sense. But from our point of view, it's really helped us kind of like get started quicker or refine things a bit quicker.
Coming to now advice for the beginners. So when it comes that what skill does the upcoming email marketer should learn?
I would always say if you're starting with email marketing, learn just normal marketing first. So the psychology behind why someone would be interested in something, what you should do as a marketer, from finding the right market fit, what content you should be sending people, what people who are interested in your product are interested in, things like that. And that should be your focus. And then the email marketing skills that you build on top of that will really help, basically. So yeah, I would say anyone thinking about getting into email marketing, do a general marketing course online, or find like a marketing internship if you're just getting started, and start on marketing first and then think about getting into email marketing. If you are a developer thinking about getting into developing specifically for email, then focus on the basics of HTML and CSS. That will work no matter
Okay.
what email client you're in. And it will give you a kind of grounding for web and other work as well. And yeah, if you've got a good understanding of HTML and CSS, then you can quickly get up to speed on email specifically. So yeah, it's a good place to start.
Okay. Basically, I just want to say that what is the golden framework that you still follow for your email marketing campaign?
The one rule that we kind of follow, the kind of big thing, is kind of like always think about what the recipient is going to get out of the email and what's most important to them. So we, instead of thinking about what you want to tell people and what you want to send, and if you're a shop and you're thinking, oh, we really want to talk about this new product, then always think about why someone would open that email and why it should be interesting for them. So they're not going to be interested that you've like created this brand new thing and it's really cool and you've used this latest technology and stuff like that. They want to know what's good for them. So, if you're selling a brand new, I don't know, down jacket to keep you warm or something like that, instead of saying, we've used down 3000 and some random fabric and things like that, you can say this jacket is going to keep you warmer for longer. It's lighter, so it's easier to carry, things like that. So focus on what someone who's getting the email, what information they would need and why they would be interested, and then that's kind of a really good rule to follow.
To crack the email marketing interview, basically.
How to crack an email marketing interview? I would say think about look at if you're going to a company and they're looking for a new email marketer and you're getting interviewed, then the best thing you can do is subscribe to their emails first. Try and get as many of their emails in your inbox. Think about what they're sending and why they're sending it, and then try and help within the interview. Just try and give some helpful tips, or even just talk about what you've seen. So, I saw you sent this email on Friday. That I would have done it slightly differently. I would have done this, or you could have improved on it by doing that. Those kind of little things. If you have signed up to them and you've shown your interest and you have a little bit of knowledge about the company and what they do, then you're probably ahead of most people that are in that interview. Anyone that's just going to talk about general email marketing principles or things like that, you're already going to be a step ahead if you're really helping with their current email.
Okay. So, you have been to the rough patch also. So there's certain beginners who are not getting a client. What should be a little bit motivational thing for them? What should be the actionable thing for them that they should follow these rules to get clients?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would say that you just keep producing good work. So if you're yeah, if you're an agency or you're a freelancer or someone that's doing email marketing and you haven't had a client for a while, just the clients that you do have, make sure you're doing the best work that you can, and that could be getting results for them, but then also it could just be talking to them and communicating them with them really well, and just generally being a really nice person and being helpful. And we've always found that word of mouth, or someone moving from one company to another company, or someone having experience of talking to you at a conference and you've been like really nice and helpful to them, that's going to help you more with new clients and things like that than, you know, any of those cold sales techniques or reaching out on like loads of spam emails and stuff like that. Focus on the people that you work with, and yeah, I think you'll get good results.
Yeah, so just wanted to say that basically, what we used to do, that whenever we wanted to get a client, Fiverr didn't work out for me. So first LinkedIn worked out for me. Slack I've never tried it out. Slack and Reddit, but coming to a thing that LinkedIn worked for me. So as it was just that when we were beginners during that time, so uh, LinkedIn worked for us that time. So
Yeah, yeah.
the cold emailing should how much it should be done, 1 or 10? Because I had certain talk with people, they said that they used to cold email every day 15.
Yeah, I mean, we don't actually send any cold emails. And we don't really work with many
Because we
clients
are
that do send.
experienced now.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what we probably instead of cold email, we probably just reach out in person to people that have problems. So and it probably works best for cold email or even cold messaging people on platforms. So if someone shares that
Oh,
they have a problem, then reaching out to them to say, just in a nice way, just kind of say, "Oh, we can help you," or "I can help you with this. Here's a bit of information," and kind of starting the ball rolling that way is a good way to do it. So yeah, if you get 10 opportunities to do that a day, then go for it. Reach out to 10 people. If you get one really good opportunity, then focus on that one more than trying to get volume.
okay. Then coming to the last question. So there's lot certain tools, certain resources that we should follow the email marketing, because internet is filled with lot of things. Okay, so which one is gonna be suitable for the beginners or for the intermediate also and advanced?
Yeah, so if you're a beginner getting into email marketing, then I would look at some newsletters that would really help you that you could sign up to. So there's a couple of emails that I sign up to that give loads of information. So all about email from Simon Harper is a really good email to sign up to. Then I would generally just take part in those groups. So the email marketing one on Reddit, or there's a couple of groups on LinkedIn as well. There's like email marketing gurus and things like that that you could join the groups. Even if you're not going to contribute, it's just a good way to kind of learn what's going on, what people are talking about, those kind of subjects. Then, in terms of design and code, there's a couple of companies out there that do really good emails. So, Really Good Emails is a website that I would definitely follow their email. But then Litmus and Email on Acid, which are email testing tools, they have good blogs with lots of information and emails that go out weekly with tips on what to do. So they would be my next best suggestion. And then for people who are working on advanced email, I could only really talk to like the developer kind of side of things. But if you were looking at advanced email, then I would kind of look for emails that are looking at kind of web standards, and Web Weekly is a really good email. CSS Weekly, that kind of stuff. So any front end newsletters that you could be looking at, or blogs that are really interesting, like Josh Comure, things like that. Those kind of people that are helping explain how front end CSS and HTML works, that would be the best place I would start if you were an advanced developer. And if you're an advanced email marketer, then like I mentioned before, all of the general marketing things are probably good to look at. So, morning marketing weekly, those kind of emails or blogs or sites where they're talking about marketing techniques in general is a really good place to start. And then you can apply that to email.
So thank you, Jay. It was a pleasure that you gave such a good knowledge and a practical knowledge. So giving a practical knowledge about the email marketing is good for the audience and the people who are getting started and the people who are in the intermediate advanced level. So thank you for sharing your experience in the email marketing and telling us which what worked for us, what doesn't work for us, and solving the client's problem is the best thing we can do in the email marketing on any field. So thank you for being our guest, Jay.
No, thank you for having me. It was great to talk. And yeah, anyone that wants to reach out, I'm always happy to talk about email. So yeah, and would love to talk to anybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the LinkedIn profile in the description. If any other profile you want to mention, you can just give me to it. I will just mention in the YouTube description box.
Great. Thank you very much.